Good evening. My name is Pippa. I'm the Executive Director of the Marie Colvin Journalist Network, a charity supporting women journalists in the Arab world. The network was set up in memory of the late Sunday Times journalist Marie Colvin, seen here in Cairo in 2011, to support the local journalists who, unlike Marie and Lindsay over there, can't just move on when the story moves on. They live in amongst all the stories of violence, corruption, poverty, and injustice. And often the people in their stories are people related to them. The stories deeply and personally affect them. From 2016 to 2022, we worked as a project of a larger charity called The Circle. But now we're venturing forwards as an independent organization and are hence seeking your support during this period of great change. Seen here is, the countries where it's doing it automatically, sorry. The countries where we focus our support are in constant crisis. This includes Syria, Sudan, Egypt, Lebanon, Iraq, Libya, Yemen, etc. This photo was taken by one of our members in Gaza. More about her later. We support women journalists in particular, as they often face additional dangers, discrimination, and social pressures that make it extra hard for them to do their job well. The relentless nature of the job in such a male-dominated environment can take a heavy toll. Through our holistic approach, we're trying to help such women overcome these barriers. By joining our network, they gain peers, skills, resilience, and confidence to persist and persevere in telling their community's stories. As our members share a common language, Arabic, we connect them across borders and help them find a supportive community online. My colleague Dima, a former BBC journalist, acts like a digital big sister. She listens to everyone's stories and then seeks out the best form of support. Today, there are more than 300 women in our network, including 62 more senior journalists who volunteer their time to mentor others. One of our Algerian members has been matched with not one, but two mentors since she joined in 2017. She has described how alone she felt when returning to Algeria after a period working in Cairo, and now how joining the network has helped her overcome this sense of loneliness and gain confidence as well as skills. As this quote demonstrates, joining the network helped her gain a wider perspective on her struggles. In addition, we have a number of Arabic-speaking psychologists and therapists we can turn to if one of our members need more professional mental health support. For example, this is Dr. Nasser, who has conducted extensive research into the ongoing trauma often experienced by journalists in the Arab region. He has found that women journalists in particular often find themselves in a constant state of self-defense, a state in which the resulting hormones create high levels of toxic stress, leading to agitation and fatigue. In a study of 250 journalists, both men and women across the region, Dr. Nasser found that 90% of the Syrian participants had experienced multiple traumatic events, as well as 83% of the Palestinians and 70% of the Yemenis. Events were not just combat or war zones, or exposure to a war zone, but also physical assaults, sexual assaults, captivity, witnessing severe human suffering, or experiencing life-threatening illness or injury. While we at MCJN cannot reduce these events or our members' exposure to them, we can help them learn coping techniques to mitigate the impact of such continuous stress. This includes covering the cost of individual counselling sessions, as well as providing a safe online space where members can vent, share, seek, and offer support. We know that our support has helped members not give in to despair and desperation, but to continue their vital reporting, as expressed in this quote on the screen, which is not by the woman in the picture, by the way. And while most of our support is provided digitally, when funds and opportunities allow, we do try to hold in-person gatherings, because we know that this in-person gathering, such as tonight, builds an even stronger bond between people. Here in the middle is Dima, my colleague in the blue shirt, with some of our members last year. I also would like to tell you a little bit about Sama. Sama Abu Alouf is a mum of 4 from the Gaza Strip and the main breadwinner for her large family. In 2014, she began taking photos of the protests and bombings that were taking place around her, as well as the impact of this on her community. A US magazine showed interest, and she began selling some of them her photos. As she had no protective equipment, she resorted to putting a saucepan on her head and wearing a flimsy blue bin liner with press written in tape on it. As a freelance photographer, and at the time the only local woman doing such a job, she had no organization to turn to for help and guidance. Over the years, we have helped her in various ways, and now she is an award-winning photojournalist who regularly contributes to the New York Times and has a proper flak jacket. We want to continue growing our network and our impact. To do this, we need your support. Your donations will help us fund Dima's time to keep building and strengthening our support, our services, and ensure that expert therapy is available when needed. Professional counselling is not cheap, not even in the Middle East. It can cost up to £800 for one woman to have 10 sessions. We are also looking for non-financial support in the form of pro bono legal or financial guidance, especially from Arabic speakers. We know that our support can have a life-changing impact and help women persevere in the industry. The more of these pioneering women there are working in the Middle Eastern media, the more attitudes change, and they embolden the next generation to demand greater equality and rights for all. Thank you so much for listening to me, and please feel free to ask questions or seek me out afterwards to discuss more.